For more on this, Manoj Kewalramani joins me from Bangalore in India. He's an author and a fellow at the Takshashila Institution. Before we get on to Nauru itself, I wonder if you could just briefly sum up and reflect on the outcome of the election in Taiwan for us.
Right. Thank you so much for having me. Look, I think it was a really interesting election, and I think everybody has a little bit to take away from it. Beijing, Washington D.C., and of course the people of Taiwan. Most importantly, the fact that the DPP has been able to hold on to the presidency for the third consecutive term is remarkable. But it's also noteworthy that President-elect William Lai, has won with just 40% of the vote. So there is a certain incumbency factor there. There's also the case that the DPP has lost the legislature. It is no longer the single largest party, and nobody controls majority, which means that the legislative agenda of the new president will encounter significant roadblocks, particularly if the two leading opposition parties, the KMT and the TPP, manage to get their act together, which they obviously didn't in the presidential election. It's clear that a joint ticket would have meant the DPP's ouster from power, which is something that Beijing would have welcomed. But Beijing will still welcome this divide between the presidency and the legislature. And that will mean, again, challenges for the DPP's policy, which likely will mean we'll see much more gray zone tactics as opposed to potentially offensive effort from Beijing.
Okay, and now moving on to Nauru, is it an outlier here, lured to Chinese influence by money, or is this rather a sign of challenging times to come for Taiwan on the international front?
I think this is part of a continuum of Chinese strategy. The PRC has gradually, over the years, weaned away Taiwan's diplomatic allies, and the PRC's economic might has been the principal tool that it has used to do so. So it's not really surprising that Nauru has switched its diplomatic recognition from Taiwan to the PRC, and it will be receiving benefits. It's in a line of Pacific Island countries that have done this in the last few years. And what each of those countries have seen is increased Chinese investment, increased Chinese financial. So it's not surprising. I think it's really important for the West, particularly the United States, if it wants to maintain Taiwan's diplomatic partners, to find ways in which that incentive to maintain diplomatic partners can sustain. So this is part of a continuum of Chinese strategy. And I think you will likely see more of this down the road. It's also a message to the new president-elect. It's no coincidence that this has come out today. It's a message to the new president-elect that you're going to expect a much harder, harsher Chinese gray zone effort to try and delegitimize Taiwan's claim to sovereignty.
Very interesting stuff. Manoj Kewalramani from Bangalore. Thank you.